An old steam pond launch in poor condition, part 3. I'm using Kilrock-K kettle descaler to remove the limescale deposit from the steam fittings. The contamination was so bad that some of the fittings were 100% blocked. I also repaired the old copper boiler top cap and whistle mounting. These fittings were so badly contaminated with limescale that every part of them was block solid. But after sitting in the acid for around 12 hours, it's a different story. All of the limescale has disappeared. It's completely gone, and the fittings look like they did when they were new. Well, they're a funny colour, but apart from that, they look like new. So once the acid has done its job, it's very important to remove all traces of the acid. So I put another plastic box on the bench and put some clean water in it. Then I take all of the fittings out of the acid and place them in the clean water. I do this one at a time, I don't just tip the whole lot in. And the idea of doing it carefully one at a time is just to avoid splashing me or my clothing with any acid. In this clip, I'm just poking a piece of brass wire through the lower water gauge fitting and all the way through the blowdown valve, and as you can see, it's not blocked in any way. I'm also checking the rest of the fittings, just to be certain that there are no blockages. And after giving all the fittings a good shake about in the water to clear any traces of the acid, I remove them from the water and put them on the bench. The reason for putting the fittings on the bench, apart from to drain the water from them, is to also check that they're all there, because if I lose any fittings, I have to make fittings. So after a while, once I've checked that all the fittings are there, I put them in the green box. Time to get down to some work. In my left hand, of course, is the chimney, and on the right hand side of the picture is the boiler top cap. First of all, I'm going to clean the chimney up because the chimney has got some oxidization where it goes into the boiler top cap. This is going to be a sympathetic restoration of a vintage model steamboat, but it needs to be a vintage restoration of a model steamboat that needs to work. So as always, I have a bit of a problem. Antique dealers and people who are generally into antiques refer to something called patina or patina, and the dictionary definition of this word really says that it's age-related wear or tarnish to the surface of an object. And I can really relate to that because I'm quite old and I've got plenty of surface tarnish and wear. Most of the model steam engines and associated steam models that I get to work on usually have something wrong with them, which is also due to age, and also damage and sometimes just bad workmanship in the first place. So one of the first things I have to do is put this right, and it's quite difficult to keep the original patina. In the case of this boiler top cap assembly, it's quite badly damaged. The vertical tube part of it was originally riveted to some very thin metal on the tapered lower part that fits on the boiler. I think I can take an educated guess at what possibly happened. The chimney is quite long and it sticks out of the top part of this fitting, and at some time in the past the chimney's had quite a heavy impact which has torn the entire assembly off the base plate. And the only reason that the entire assembly did not fall out of the boat completely was because the steam pipe to the engine and the steam pipe from the engine and the smaller pipe to the whistle held it in place. This is not a good state of affairs, so what I'm doing is repairing it properly. I've reshaped the bottom piece, so now I can drill through, and this time I'm installing 10BA bolts. And the piece you're watching at the moment is the real easy part. The hard part was reshaping the flange on the bottom piece. What I had to do was profile the inside edge of the vertical tubular part to accurately fit over the flange part on the base mounting that goes on the boiler. I did actually video some of this process, but most of the video ended up just being my hands in the way or parts of me in the way, so I'm just telling you about it instead. It was very difficult. If you look at the job that I'm doing at the moment, this is easy. Drill a hole, put a 10BA nut and bolt through. Very fiddly, but very easy. What I had to do, whilst I drilled the holes, was put some positive pressure on the main part to make sure that these holes were well down into the copper, because the original holes were very near the edge and therefore the whole thing was weak. You've just seen me cut off the surplus thread on the 10BA bolts, and now I'm using a little drum sander to get rid of the sharp edges. I suppose that I could really leave the sharp edges on these small bolts because who's going to see it in there? No one. But quite apart from the fact that I do like to do the job properly, there's still more work to do on this component, because I will have to hold this as I clean it up on the polishing spindle and sandpaper and files and other things like that. But another good reason for doing this is because I think I'm going to turn the nuts and bolts round, talking about rivets that are two missing here. As I mentioned earlier, most of the rivets around the vertical tubing section of this component were not really riveted to anything, they were just through the holes. I am, however, going to replace two of the rivets that are missing. I'm cutting them off to length and I'm using a rivet snap like this to keep the front surface of the rivet the same shape. And then I'm going to use my small riveting hammer from behind to expand the rivets in the holes. At the moment I'm trying to extricate the whistle from the chimney. It's very loose on here, but it doesn't want to come away. That's because it's pegged through with a couple of small rivets and it was originally glued to the chimney. Often with these kinds of jobs that I do, the art is getting the part away from the other part without breaking either of them. And I'm being really careful with this. I even use my small craft knife to break the seal. This clip clearly shows the whistle removed from the chimney and sat on the bench. So what I need to do now is clean up the chimney and clean up the whistle before putting them back together. This small, well-made but almost ultrasonic whistle needs refitting to the thread on the valve, and to seal the thread I'm using some Loctite 542. The whistle blows quite well, but only on low pressure. But thankfully the pipe that feeds the whistle is very, very thin, so that hopefully will drop the pressure sufficiently and avoid the frequency going ultrasonic and attracting every dog in the neighbourhood. If you've been watching the last few clips, not just listening to me rambling on about dog whistles, you'll see what I'm doing. I'm bolting the whistle valve to the chimney with some 10BA nuts and bolts. I'm removing the excess thread with a pair of side cutters. Then I'm going to get my small Minicraft drill out, here it is, with a drum sander fitted, and very, very carefully grind away the rough edge of the thread where I cut it with the side cutters. It's very important not to be nervous when doing jobs like this. If you're nervous, you will probably slip and mark the chimney, although there are one or two marks on the chimney, but these are just old marks, we don't want to put any new ones on there. So now to me the boiler cap and the chimney look very good. It's a pity that the metal doesn't stay like this, but it will tarnish naturally anyway, and as soon as some heat goes up the chimney, it will tarnish very quickly. I do like the style of this boiler. It has a certain look to it which is very steampunk. The boiler cap and chimney are looking a whole lot better, and that's it for this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.